let's go. Deoin, let's go. Yeah. We built it. We grind it. That's right, man. We ride it. We cruising. We built it. We grind it. That's right. Let's go. We ride it. We cruising. We built it. We grind it.
My name's Rick. I'm from Elkland, Missouri. I basically got into cars, from the time I was in diapers to now, because my dad and his brothers were all into street rods and drag racing and things in Ohio. And just been a passion of mine ever since I was a kid. I've owned more hot rods and race cars than I've known what to do with. And a lot of them I'd like to have back, but just never going to get.
What are some of the vehicles that you did own that you would like to have back?
Well, let's see. I'd like to have my first car back, which was a 65 Ford Falcon. Me and my dad spent some time building that. I drove it around for a year when I was 16 to the time I was 17. Sold that to a friend of mine who still has it today. Sold it to bought a 37 Ford. Got that halfway done. Sold it to buy a 34 Ford. And it just snowballed from there. I've had everything from lowered short bed Chevy truck with a 671 blown small block in it to a 69 big block Corvette. I've had Z28s. I did the four-wheel drive thing for a while with lift kits and stuff, but drag racing and hot rods has always been my passion, and things just going with the flow of the times, I guess. As you can see with the newer car instead of an older one. The older ones are 3 times more expensive to build now than what this new one is. So we'll just run with the new ones for a while. And at my age, probably be the last hot rod or performance car I ever built anyways.
What kind of performance cars do you kind of like? Do you like to go to drag strips?
Drag racing is my passion. I've always loved that. I've done that for years. I like a car to perform. Now, granted, it doesn't have to be a screaming fast car, especially like something like this. When we're done with this car, it will make plenty of horsepower. I can do anything I want with it. It's a daily driver. It will always be a daily driver. I don't care what I do with it. I don't want to build something that sits in a garage and never gets driven, gets taken out once a month, maybe on a nice day. It's just not worth it to me what it costs to build them anymore. With this one, because of the way it's built, the way the suspension is set up and things, I could go drag racing with it if I wanted, if it was worth drag racing this car with as heavy as it is and with it being a stock motor right at the moment. But out here running on the back roads in the corners, this thing will handle with just about anything. And some of the corners are quite fun out here and I enjoy it, but I also like just, getting together with friends that's got cars, whether they're newer, older, and going on a big long cruise where everybody's just relaxed. You're cruising through the backwoods of the Ozarks, stop and have lunch. You're not running 900 miles an hour to get from point A to point B. I really enjoy just the drive. It is something that the older I get, the more I like. And it used to be when I was a young guy, when I jumped in one of my hot rods or something and hit the streets with it, it was, who can we find to mess with? How fast is their car? Can I beat it? Nowadays, it doesn't mean that much to me. I still enjoy playing with people every once in a while, and whether they're faster than I am or not, it's just fun to screw around, but you got to pick a place and a time to do that. You don't want a lot of people around. You don't want a lot of traffic around. Granted, I have made that mistake a couple times and done things in traffic probably shouldn't have. But we all do that, but it's just, I don't know, man. The car world has changed so much from the time I was a little kid to today. And the types of cars that are being built and the amount of money that can be spent building one nowadays has just gotten to a point where I'm not independently wealthy, so I can't exactly buy or build exactly what I'd like to have. So I've had this car since it was new in 2019, and it's been a slow process. and it'll probably be another year or two before it's where I would really like it to be at. It'll never be the fastest thing on a road, and I don't care. Like I said, it's a daily driver. I enjoy the car. It's mine. I'm building it for the way I want it. Some people like it. Some people really like it. I've run into a lot of them here in town that think it's stupid and I should put a Hemi in it, and I should do this and do that. And of course, that'd all be great. And like I tell them, well, if you're forking out the money to do all that, let's have at it. That's $10,000, $15,000 I just don't have. I mean, it would be a nice thing, but for me too, because I've been into hot rods all my life, I've been into drag racing. I've built a lot of cars with big horsepower, big blocks, big small blocks. I've gotten to the point where I kind of like building things that are a little off, a little different than what other people have. This little 3.6 actually runs a lot better than most people think it should. By the time we make a few changes to the stock motor, it'll run a whole lot better by spring. And I do have 2 other builder motors that are going to go to a machine shop, and there's some specialty stuff we're doing to 2 more blocks to handle a lot of boost. And even this little V6 built correctly should make 600 horsepower fairly easy. On the weekends, when you change pulleys on a supercharger, up your boost on your turbos, whatever I decide to put on it. But as a daily driver, it'll be about a 400 horsepower car, and that's a God's plenty in this thing. I just not looking to go out and beat the world to death with something super fast and smoke the tires off of it all the time. They're not cheap, and I can't afford to be buying them every 6 months. So, it's just, I love the car world, and I just love building them. I don't care what it is. It's just, I just into doing things a little different than everybody else. I don't like to join the bandwagon of what everybody else is building and doing, and that's what kind of makes this car so much fun for me. Is just it's different, and it's not what everybody's got or what they want, and that's kind of why I like it as much as I do. My wife and I decided to buy this car. Decided to buy the car when it was new, and I'd always wanted a Chrysler 300. I think they're a really good looking car. They're really fast looking, just sitting still. They're just classy. They're comfortable. Even lowered, the ride is no different than it was when it was stock. That's kind of what got me into this one. The price was right on it. Didn't think I'd ever get one. Before this, I drove an old 87 Dodge truck that ate us up in fuel. I mean, it was fast. It was stupid fast for what it was, but I couldn't afford to drive it every day. Finally sold it. We were down to just one car for the longest time until I found what I wanted. And we got this bought, and I really enjoy this thing. So it's just kind of where I'm at today and what we're into. And
well, that's good. We're gonna go back a little bit too, because
okay.
I want to say how whatever you're putting into this car, because it fits you, and this is unique, and that's how you like it. But that's also too what you like about going to car shows too, because everybody's got an individual car that fits their needs.
That's right.
If they were all the same,
it'd be boring.
Right?
It'd be so boring to go to a car show and look at the same cars all the time. Granted, you can go and you'll get certain ones that same car look pretty much identical, just a few different changes, and that's great. Most of those are street rods that you'll see that are fiberglass kit cars, and they come a certain way. Of course, your paint's going to be different, the interior is going to be different, motor choices are going to be different. You get into something like this, it's kind of the same thing. I could go to Holly Mo Party this year. We were supposed to be there this year. We went last year, and there were maybe 5 300s out of the whole weekend that was there. This year, there were a bunch of them from what I was told and from the pictures I've seen. And everybody's taste is so different. And each car was so unique that there wasn't one there in the pictures that I didn't like. They all looked really good. They all had their uniqueness to them. And like I said, it's just something that's the way everybody should build their car. Build it for you. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks about your car. Don't worry about how everybody thinks you should build their car. They're not the ones spending the money on it. You're the one putting the money into the vehicle, and that's kind of the way it should be. These guys that try to build these $200,000 and $300,000 street rods, that they're building them to win trophies, to please everybody in the world. To me, that's not building a car. It's not building a hot rod. That's building something that you're going to get recognized over. You're going to get talked about. This thing for me is not about trophies. Granted, I've won a couple small, piddly little trophies with this thing at small local car shows, which is great, and I've enjoyed that. But I'm building it to suit me and to make me happy and to run the way I want it to run. And when I do go to a car show, I don't want it to look like the next 300s sitting out there. Granted, there are some things that I can't change on this that are going to be the same as a lot of the different 300s, because you can only buy certain aftermarket parts for these things. They're just not available like the Chargers and Challengers are. So there'll be some things that'll be the same, but for these, it's a lot on how you paint them, how you've done the interior, what wheels you've got, how you've set the car up, what you've done under the hood, just little things that grab the attention of other people. I've got other friends from all over the United States that have got 300s, and me and another friend of mine were talking one day about how us guys with the 300s, you really have to go over the top on anything we do to get anybody to pay attention to our cars, because most people think of a Chrysler 300, oh, that's a grandpa car. And when I bought it, it looked like a grandpa car. It had chrome wheels on it, had chrome all over it. There was no rear spoiler, no front spoiler. The car sat stock. It looked like an old man's ride. So I guess at 56 years old now, if I'd have left it alone, it would be an old man's ride, but I'm still too much of a kid when it comes to cars, and that's how we ended up with it. Looking the way it does now is just my deal.
So we're here at this point here. Go ahead and tell me what you have done to it, from the wheels to the lug nuts, just anything. Just go ahead and tell me about your baby here.
The car itself is a Chrysler 300 Limited. Of course, from Chrysler, they come with pretty much every option that you could think of on them. The Limiteds have all the chrome. The mirrors are chrome, wheels are chrome, all the chrome around the windows. There's no performance package on them. They're just basically a luxury car. Like I said earlier, I like the 300s. They're classy looking. They're fast looking no matter what you do with one of them. But they need some help to really get where they're at, like ours here. In the 5 years that I've owned this car, of course, we had the windows tinted. The wheels, I needed to change wheels. We bought the SRT style wheels. They're Asani black labels. They're a 20 by 10.5 in the back with a 20 by 9 up front. Running the widest tire I could get underneath the back, which is a 315/35. We lowered the car 2 inches on Eibach Sportline springs, and then put the Godspeed upper control arms front and rear so we could get the adjustability back out suspension, make it handle correctly and not eat the tires off of it. I've gone as far as it's got a Family Customs full carbon fiber front lip on it with support rods, which is the third one that's been on there. The other two were cheap plastic with the carbon fiber look, and of course we live out here in the country. So my wife hit a possum one night and blew one apart. I had a coon one morning, blew one apart. So I figured if I spend the money and buy actual carbon, I'll watch for the animals a little bit better. It's lasted a lot longer. I ordered the rear spoiler, factory style spoiler, and put the wicker bill on it just because I like the way they look. It's not really going to help much on these cars for performance or handling but just an added look to it. We're about halfway through with the interior on this car. It's actually got Corbu fixed back race seats in it, or at least one of them's in it. The other one's sitting in the house waiting to go in the passenger side. We've got some of the carbon fiber accents on the inside, just waiting for the rest of them to show up in the mail. There's a few different things. Some stuff's been wrapped in dry carbon to kind of accent it a little bit, not be so boring by being complete all white. Of course, the hood is is the Viper style hood. It's all fiberglass with a functioning ram air, which is sealed to the air box. It does work on this car. It's right now it's in black primer because the car is probably going to go to the body shop this winter. I'm not real sure if we're going to paint the hood to match the car, or if the hood and the roof and the trunk are going to be flat black and the rest of the car will be a custom color that we're looking at putting on it to set it apart from everybody else's. Just been a few different things. Of course, like I said, we live out here in the country. I did hit a deer 2 years ago. So we're ordering the SRT style front bumper to put on it, which would be another added look to the car because it changes the way the front end looks a little bit with a different fog light and driving light assembly at the bottom. They're just a little neater looking front end, a lot better, which would have eventually ended up on here anyways, but hitting a deer is going to cause it to happen a lot sooner than it probably would have, because of course these rubber bumpers, once you hit something with them, they're no good. The paint cracks and comes off of them, and most people don't notice it, but I know it's there, and it's hideous. And this winter will be a winter for making a few changes, I think, to the car. If not everything I want to do, we'll get quite a bit of it done this year to be a little bit different again next year, like we've done every year. It always comes out in spring time for cruising and stuff, a little different than it was the year before. So it's getting there. It's just time and money. And like I said, I'm not independently wealthy. So
Why did you get this car? Like, why this car out of any other car? Like,
why this car? Well, when Chrysler brought the Chrysler 300 back out, I think in 2005 is when they first started producing them again after many years of not having them. I really liked the body style and the way the cars looked. Granted, that the earlier ones from 2005 to I think 11 are a little boxier, but they were classy looking. They had kind of a gangster look. You know, back then guys were big into the suicide doors on them, which was really cool, and putting Lambo doors on them, which was cool and stuff. But the more the Chryslers evolved over the years, up until 2013 when they made the change again, I really fell in love with them then. The cars got a little swoopier, a little faster looking, a little classier looking. Still really cool when you got the Lambo doors on them. Some buddies of mine in Tennessee got Lambo doors on their 300s, which is really trick. Not my thing, but I like the way it looks. It just not what I want to do to this one. So we said when it was time to buy a new car again and to get something new, and we started looking, and I looked and looked and looked for months, and kept an eye out on some of the car lots in town and things for what I really wanted. And we drove down Glenstone one night and passed a car lot. This was sitting right out in the front. We whipped a U-turn, come back around, went in and talked to the guys about it. The price was really good. The car we had at the time was a really nice 99 Infiniti. It wasn't nothing special, but it was clean. I was the second owner of that car. Had all leather, had every option you could think of, but it was just getting time for a new one. And I had spent a bunch of money fixing that. And everybody in the car lots, big car lots like Marshfield Chevrolet and Corwin, they were all, we'll give you about $500 trade in. These guys gave me almost $2,000 trade in on a 99 vehicle towards this one. So that was one of the kickers there too. We did look for one with the factory Hemi. They were hard to find. When you did find them, they had things on them I really didn't want, things I didn't want to have to deal with. Most of them were all-wheel drive, which is cool, but it doesn't help the performance of the car, and it doesn't help the handling of the car, and it's mainly for colder weather driving. So we just kept looking, and we kept looking and kept looking. And this one was so clean and so nice, and the price was so good on it. There was no way I could pass it up. I couldn't find another one with as good a price on it with as low miles that was on it as this one had. It was 6 months old, actually, when we got the car. It came out of Florida, and the gentleman that bought it had ordered every option he could get except for one. It doesn't have the wireless charging for your cell phone down in the armrest, but everything else, every other option's on here that you get. And for me, they're kind of cool because this is the newest car I've ever owned in my entire life. Everything else I've had has been from 70s. I think the newest one before this was 91 S10 Extreme Blazer, two-door Blazer, and I bought it used. So I've never bought anything that's actually brand new until this one, and we may not have got it from Chrysler, but still it was only 6 months old and had no miles on it, so it was a brand new car when we bought the thing. So, and it had no issues and stuff. So I kind of got what I wanted, and I've been able to do the work on it that I've wanted to do to one to make it look the way I like them to look, and eventually it'll perform the way I want it. Now we'll go check out the engine. Not that it's anything all that special, but we'll get a gander at it.
This is the hood you're talking about, right?
Yeah, this is the Viper style hood. The heat extractor vents are functional. They do pull heat out of the engine compartment. The ram area is functional. It is sealed to this air box at the moment until the new one goes on. Then it'll be redone for the new air box. Everything at the moment is pretty much stock. Haven't really made a lot of changes underneath here because I haven't really needed to yet.
But you got this cut open?
Yeah, it seals to the hood
This part here.
so that it's all functional, which helps a little bit with the performance. And those will pull heat out from underneath the hood, which makes it nice, keeps your underhood temps down.
Oh, that is nice. But at the moment, it's just all stock until you decide to set up more, huh?
Yeah, until springtime. This winter, I'll be ordering the Diablo PCM from Holly so that my Diablo tuner will work, and then the tune will get changed on it. And then eventually, as things go, as soon as I can get one ordered or find one that somebody's selling locally, the airbox and everything will get changed. Be a few minor performance modifications done to it through the winter. Nothing heavy, just some things I want to do to make it a little more enjoyable to drive. Till some other decisions are made, I have spent a couple phone calls with Whipple this summer, talking with them. I'm old school. I love the Root style superchargers. Turbos are cool too, but I just like the sound of a supercharger. And granted, it not being a Hemi car, because there's no way to buy one factory with a supercharger on it from Chrysler, and you couldn't even buy the last call 300s with a supercharger on it. So Whipple has told me, and after talking to them quite a bit this year, that at the end of this year, they're supposed to be releasing their 3.6 Whipple setup, which is what I really want to put on this. I like the looks of them. I like the sound of them. It's proven performance from them guys. Everything that it's got one of their superchargers on runs. There are other superchargers I could go with. There's just little things about them I don't like. One setup bolts to the front of the motor, which takes up a lot of space. Hard to work on anything. You got to tear all the supercharger out. You've got to work on the front of the motor, but it does make decent horsepower. It is a good setup. Another one mounts off to the side of the motor. You got to move some things that I don't really want to move. You lose some things that I don't really want to lose. Guy that I follow on Facebook and have talked to a couple times over in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Walker Induction Solutions. He He actually builds single and twin turbocharger setups for these and for Hemi cars, and they're proven. They're making good horsepower. They're nice setups. He did it like a lot of people have done, like a lot of us have done that have had a business like that at any time in our life. Started in his garage. Now he's got a big shop. I've also thought about if Whipple doesn't come out with their setup, taking it to Tulsa, and him and I sitting down and putting a twin turbo setup on this motor. They said earlier, we do have 2 other motors we're going to have some machine work done on, some special work done to them to accommodate boost, because the factory ones won't take more than about 18 pounds of boost before they split a cylinder wall, and that's not a good thing. So we've learned from another guy that's got a pretty fast all-wheel drive charger that how to build the blocks to handle a lot more boost. And so we're going to go that route, but that'll probably be a next year deal. This winter, I think is going to be new paint job. Definitely the front bumper, the harness bar, and get the other seat put in and get it out of the spare room of the house. I'm looking into this winter putting the rear diffuser on the back bumper from Vicarez, which is all carbon fiber, which will go nicely with the carbon fiber front splitter. Unfortunately, Family Customs that made that one is who I wanted to get all my carbon from. They made a lot of stuff for 300s, made a lot of stuff for Chargers and Challengers. They were veteran owned out of California. After I bought my front splitter a year and a half ago. Here, a couple months back, they shut the doors and have had moved on to something else automotive-wise when it comes to die-cast cars, which really upsets me and a lot of other guys because they made some cool carbon fiber products for under the hood and things that now I can't get for this one, but we'll work around it. We'll come up with some other ideas. I got a buddy of mine that works on a body shop that's been doing some carbon fiber work, and his first carbon fiber pieces have been amazing. So we're going to do, I think he's going to do the rocker panels for this one down here in carbon fiber this winter when we paint it. Shoot, I could go on and on the list of crap I'd like to do this car, but obviously it'll come to a point where it'll be what I consider perfect. Granted, be a lot more stuff I could do to it. They always say that the car is never completely done, which they're right. But when it comes to what you put on a car or how much you add to it, you got to kind of set your bar to area where you eventually just stop, or you'll end up with more into the car than it'll ever be worth. You won't never make any money off of it when you resell it. And it'll just get to a point, the more stuff you put on it, the faster it becomes, and more horsepower it's got, it becomes something you can't drive on a daily. You end up with a car that sits in the garage most of the time. And that's not what I want out of this one. I want to be, if I'm gonna spend the money to build a car, I want to enjoy it. I want to take it out and drive it, not only to work, but on the weekends.
What is your desire to drive?
My desire to drive comes from the fact that it's relaxing to me. It's kind of like mowing my acre yard over here. You know, I sit on that mower and it just relaxes me. Well, I get in this car, it does the same thing for me. It's has ever since I was a kid, ever since I learned how to drive. When I was younger, my desire to drive was so strong then that when me and my dad finished my little 65 Falcon on Friday nights, there'd be nights. Of course, at 16, you know, can't be out late nights with your buddies and stuff and hanging out like we could as we got older. But there were nights, I don't know how many nights I could tell you, I sneak out of the house, roll my Falcon down the driveway with no motor on, roll it down the hill, down the road, fire it up when I got to the bottom of the hill, and I just go drive by myself for hours in Colorado Springs and just cruise around town and listen to the radio. It's still that way for me today. I really enjoy being in the car when my wife is with me. We get in it, we go ride or go someplace in town or something. But I have days, just like when I still rode motorcycle on the streets, I have days that I want to decompress, and getting in it, whether I can roll the windows down, open the sunroof, or they all got to stay shut. picking the type of music I like, cranking it up as loud as I can get it to go, and finding a back road out here in the country, or just get on the highway and point the car in a direction and set the cruise control and go somewhere. Man, there's nothing like it, because and it's whether people can walk up to you and say, "Hey, cool car," or not. When you go out and you just drive, you notice people that turn their head to look because they haven't seen anything like it, or think the car is cool, and that's kind of a de-stressor and an ego boost a little bit, just to notice those little things. Is just I really enjoy being out in the open, getting away from town. That's why I kind of why I like living out here. It's so crowded in town, and man, you can't enjoy the drive in town anymore. Can't just jump in your car and crank your stereo up and enjoy driving from one side of Springfield to the other, because the traffic's so bad that it's scary, and you got to pay attention to what everybody's doing in town around you. And I don't know, my desire to jump in this thing sometimes and just go, man. And it don't have to be fast. And I have days that I'll get in it, and I could be out in the middle of one of these country roads somewhere, and there ain't nobody around but me. I'll just lay into it, run her up to about 120 and back her off, and think, well, that was good enough for today, because that's, we don't live in Germany. It's not the Autobahn. I didn't build the car for high-speed runs and stuff, but it gets something out of my system that may be building up and helps me decompress and things. And I think that's what a car is for, You show it off, build what you like. If it helps you relax, just to jump in it and go cruise somewhere, throw your buddy in the car with you, just laugh, joke, throw the wife, girlfriend, or whatever you got in your car with you, and just take off, whether you even say a word to each other or not, just to get in and go. And being by yourself most of the time is a good way to do it. Sometimes it's good to have somebody in the car with you, like I said, whether you talk to each other or not. Just being out there together, listening to some good music, and both of you maybe decompressing, because maybe your girlfriend loves the car you got, maybe your wife loves the car you got, or your buddy thinks it's cool and loves riding in it, even if he's got a cool car and stuff. Maybe there's just something about yours he just digs getting jumping in it with you every once in a while, and vice versa, and everybody just go out and have a good time, man. It's just, life's too short. This is Desire to Drive. We'll see you guys later.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. We built it.
How come this isn't going?
You got the lids on, Mom.
Oh.